Mr. Eggplant presents.
Hey guys, Tyler here, and thank you for checking out this video. And I'm finally making a beta video today. So we are going to be looking at some of the new talents that have been changed so many times since I have made my previous want list video, and then also a couple of other follow-up videos to that one. So be sure and check those out if you'd like down in the description of the video. So I've been doing some of the heroic dungeons. I've pretty much done all of them, kind of waiting around for Mythic Plus to come out here on the beta. That's really what I'm looking forward to playing the most, or at least testing the most, on my Marksman Hunter, particularly since AOE usually gives you more options than single target does. So I decided let's go ahead and look at a AOE Mythic Plus build, if you will, kind of a hybrid build, and then see where we can make different changes based on the content. So what I like to do is go ahead and try to get to the very bottom, my most important talent, try to get there first, and then kind of flesh out my build. So this would be, like I said, for a Mythic Plus situation, for like an AOE kind of hybrid build to work on both Tyrannical and Fortified. So as a Marksman Hunter, we get kill shot. So then I'm going to go ahead and put 2 points in post haste. I'm going to put 2 points in natural mending, 1 in counter shot, 1 in survival of the fittest, misdirection, and tar trap. And that will unlock, that's 8 points spent, so that'll unlock the next section. So this is where you get kind of some options, because this build that I'm going to show you today does not have concussive shot in it, and also does not have trank shot, doesn't have scare beast, and then over here in the marksman talents, it does not have bursting shot. So if that's something that you are really wanting in your build, you can switch some points around, and I can show you where some of the points can be moved around pretty freely. So from here, I like to go with Born to be Wild, which is basically in the game right now, is one of our talents. Unfortunately, it does cost 2 points. And then we come to our first choice node, which one of them is going to be Lone Survivor, which reduces the cooldown of Survival of the Fittest by 30 seconds, and then also increases its duration by 2 seconds, or Nature's Endurance, which means it keeps the same 3-minute cooldown and the same 6-second duration, but it does reduce the damage taken by an additional 20%. This is something that you can pick as a player. I've been playing around with Nature's Endurance right now, but probably Lone Survivor is the better pick right now until you get more familiar with the dungeons. But for the sake of this video, you can pick either. I'm gonna go ahead and pick the Lone Survivor right now. And then we have some of these that are opening up down here. So I'm probably not going to take Scattershot, since it does have a very short range, actually. It does not have our regular range as a Marksman Hunter. So because of that, I'm going to go ahead and pick Binding Shot anyway. It's going to be more important. And then that does open up the next set of talents on the tree. So from here, we can kind of start filling in some points, because we do need to spend 8 more points to get down to this next section. And for Mythic Plus in current in Shadowlands, I don't ever run with camouflage, but I will probably run with it thanks to the new point system. So I would go ahead and put 1 point in camouflage, which will allow us to get down here to Master Marksman here in 7 more points. So here now we have some options. I prefer to take entrapment here, so whenever your tar trap is activated, it roots everybody in that tar trap for 4 seconds. It could be really nice for both PvP and then also obviously for Mythic Plus situations. And unfortunately, I really want Intimidation. I wish Intimidation would work without a pet. Just, you know, like a pet comes out of nowhere, intimidates the target, and then runs off. You know, something like that. That did not happen though. And the way High Explosive Trap works, it flings enemies so far away, it can really make a lot of problems for melee, and even for you if you're trying to use that and use volley effectively, that sort of thing. So because of that, I'm not actually going to pick this one right now, but that is one of the choice options that you can kind of put points in based on your playstyle. So I'm going to go ahead and put 2 points in Rejuvenating Wind, which is currently in the game as well, and that leaves 4 points left. There is one other spot I would go up the tree here, which would be Improved Kill Shot. It just increases that critical strike damage of your kill shot by 25%. You can put a point there. You also don't have to put a point there. That's really your choice. So here, this is basically Avoidance. It's currently in the game, so you just take 6% less damage from area of effect attacks. So we're going to go ahead and put a point there, which leaves us with 3 points left. So if you have picked one of these Intimidation or High Explosive Trap, you obviously got points there, maybe in Trank Shot, or maybe in improved kill shot up here. But I'm going to go ahead and put 2 points in pathfinding. I know that seems like a rather dumb way to spend 2 points, but I have found that movement speed is very important, and even at 6%, I really wish that wasn't 2 points though. There's a lot of work that they could probably still do to tweak some of these trees, but I think we're going to be pretty much stuck with these for the most part now. So to make the most of it, I think pathfinding would work. Since we have unlocked Master Marksman as well, you don't have to do pathfinding. You could easily take these 2 points out and put 1 in Trank Shot and 1 in Concussive Shot. Or you could put 1 in Trank Shot and 1 up here in Improved Kill Shot. That really, the choice is yours. So you know what, let's go ahead and do that because more utility is usually better. So let's go ahead and put 1 point in Trank Shot and then 1 point in Kill Shot. But you will see me run with pathfinding quite a bit as well. So we just need to put 1 more point in the tree somewhere. So unfortunately, Sentinel Owl did get a little bit of a nerf. Well, actually, the Sentinel's protection was what got nerfed, so now it doesn't lower the amount of magical damage you take. So I'm probably going to stay away from Sentinel Owl, except for certain situations that we have obviously not run across yet. I'm sure there'll be a Cujo-like fight at some point where I'll want to have Sentinel Owl for my group, but for the most part, the only boss I've seen that deals with line of sight is, I don't even know the dungeon, but there's like an ice troll. She's a caster, but you can actually cast through the ice that's blocking her spells, so you don't really even have to worry about that. So I'm going to go ahead and put 1 more point here in the tree, so let's go ahead and put 1 here in pathfinding. That's going to open up a couple of abilities that we need to unlock. So our goal is to get to Death Chakram down here and Explosive Shot. So I'm going to go ahead and put 2 points in Keen Eyesight because we do have to do that, and that gives us our first Capstone ability, which is Death Chakram. From there, unfortunately, Arctic Bola will need to be picked. I'm finding in my dungeon run so far, I mean, heroics are pretty quick so far here in the beta, but Arctic Bola does like 1.5% of my total damage, which doesn't feel real good to be a 2 point at the very bottom of a tree, and you are required to use it to get Explosive Shot. So we're going to go ahead and do that as much as I don't want to. Now we have 5 points to work with, and this is where you can do a couple of different things. I've tested out Steel Trap for a tyrannical boss, for example, and Steel Trap for an entire dungeon, when I use it on cooldown, will give me about 1.7% of my total damage, which isn't too bad, but I mean, it's also the very last row, and you'd think they would want to do a little bit more damage than that. So I'm going to go ahead and put 2 more points up here in Master Marksman, and then that gives me 3 points left. And this is probably going to be your base build. The only difference is being maybe, your Trank Shot, like I said, is over here at Pathfinding, or maybe you have picked Concussive Shot, that sort of thing, because we do have Wing Clip in the game again, but in Concussive Shot will just be the ranged version of that. And this is something that might be a hotly debated topic, but I have been playing with Serpent Sting and then Hydra's Bite, which Hydra's Bite, whenever you use Serpent Sting, does not count for the Serpent Stalker's Trickery Serpent Stings, unfortunately. If it did, that would be a great interaction, Blizzard. I definitely have put that in my bug reports and then just some of the options and feedback I've given so far here in the beta. But I've been playing with Hydra's Bite, which means you can be attacking one enemy and then, putting your aim shots into that and then pop off a couple of your Serpent Stings on a couple of other targets, and immediately you've got like 6 targets that have Serpent Sting on them, which feels pretty good. Does right around 5 to 8% of my total damage, which was Serpent Sting, so a pretty great amount of damage if I do say so myself. And then I have 1 more point to spend, so I'm going to go ahead and put that over here in Serrated Shots, because we really need to get as much damage as possible out of our build. So that's the main hunter tree so far. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the marksmanship only talents. And there are a lot of different ways you can build your marksman hunter, both good and bad. There are options, and I was talking to Teach actually in one of our runs when he's been working on his Invoker and also his Blood Decay, and he feels like every class he's played so far needs like 1 more talent point, and if they had 1 more, that he could get a much better build. But for a marksman hunter, we do have to put a point in aim shot. I don't know why we didn't just get it free like we did with kill shot. Maybe they changed that at some point, and that would actually give us our last point. But we're going to go ahead and put a point in aim shot, and then we're going to put a point in crack shot. You're going to definitely want to do that. It's almost a must. And we will be running without a pet, so Lone Wolf is a must as well, and then so is Rapid Fire. And we have 4 points left to spend. So goals for my build are going to be to get down to the bottom of the tree. But to do that, we have, for an AoE situation, we have to put points to get down to multi-shot and trick shots. So those are going to be the important bits right now. So you can go ahead and put points here in Streamline, which I'm not used to that picture being streamlined yet. I'm used to the death blow picture being streamlined. But so we have 2 points left to go ahead and get to the bottom part of our tree. And there's quite a few options. I have actually been getting ready to put points in precise shots because of the 2 and 4 set for Marksman Hunters for the first tier of Dragonflight. There's going to be a 10% chance on your auto attack, so basically a little bit better than your lock and load procs, to give you 100% chance to crit with your multi-shots, your arcane shots, or your chimera shot, since they're all kind of the same thing in essence, or at least for these procs. So because of that, you're going to want to make sure they're already doing as much damage as possible, and you're going to be weaving them in and out of your build in AoE situations, even during your true shots, because you're not going to be able to have that super OP 4 set that we have here in Shadowlands, or at least for maybe a month or so left in Shadowlands. So I'm going to go ahead and put 2 points in precise shots, and then we're going to go ahead and continue down the tree. So then we can pick between lethal shots and surging shots over here, which is going to just basically augment that rapid fire and have it do a little bit more damage. Lethal shots was great in BFA, and then surging shots was really the go-to legendary for Kyrian for a while in Shadowlands. So I lean towards surging shots since rapid fire is doing quite a bit of damage for us so far in Mythic Plus / dungeons that I've done here in the beta. So I'm going to go ahead and pick surging shots, but you could definitely pick lethal shots as well. And then we're going to want to pick up a point for multi-shot and then trick shots, which now gives us some options. We have 9 more points left to spend, so we're going to go ahead and pick up volley as well, and we're going to be working potentially down to pick up salvo, which salvo is basically the ammunition pouch that is connected to your Necrolord Death Chakram right now, only instead of it being on Death Chakram, it's going to be whenever you use multi-shot or volley, we'll put the explosive shot on up to 2 nearby targets. So we still have to spend points to get down there, and I don't really think that Death Blow and Razor Fragments are going to be worth it. Maybe that changes, particularly if you're going to be over here in Steel Traps, because you're going to have another point in serrated shots, so that bleed value will be increased even further, and so will your Serpent Sting. But for this build, for an AoE build, I'm going to go ahead and skip that for now. Then there's going to be a lot of crit already built into your build, so because of that, we're most likely going to go with a haste and mastery build for stats on your gear, because, you know, for example, Bullseye currently not working in the beta. Let's see, we've got Unerring Vision now has been fixed in the beta. They have that going on. We have points here where you have just a flat increased chance with your 2 main abilities, aim shot and rapid fire. There's already going to be crit in your build, and we've already been running with such a low crit. At least if you are a Necrolord or a Night Fae, you probably had 30% crit for the most of the expansion, and then you just dumped it into anything else, mostly mastery. So because of that, we've already been playing with lower amounts of crit, kind of like what I did in BFA with my Unerring Vision build. So this gives us a nice amount of flexibility for what we do moving forward. So let's go ahead. I have been putting points in Careful Aim. This could be something that maybe you don't do, but I prioritize Careful Aim currently in my build in Shadowlands. So I run with the Careful Aim build when I play Necrolord because it already gives me the free explosive shot. So I'll go ahead and put 2 points in Careful Aim, but you could easily put 2 points in either one of these other 2. That is plenty good. Then I'm going to go ahead, or you could, I guess, put it down here in Focused Aim as well. Depends on if you want to get to bursting shot, because you have to pick this if you're going to go to bursting shot, but that is going to be utility that I'm probably going to leave on the table, at least for now. So I have 6 points I need to spend to keep moving down, and I want to get to double tap. So we're going to go ahead and do target practice. So arcane shot and multi-shot damage increased by 25%. That synergizes very, very well with our 4 set already, so that is something that we want to go ahead and pick up. That does open up double tap, and then we have some more options. We have 4 points left to spend. I have done points in Death Blow and Razor Fragments. I didn't really feel like it was doing that much damage for me. So because of that, I'm going to go ahead and go elsewhere, at least for this build. So I'm going to come up here to Hunter's Knowledge. So my 2 main abilities are going to have an additional 10% chance to crit on top of any base crit we have in our build, any Unerring Vision, any 2 set, 4 set, anything like that. It's only going to help our damage. So now we have options. We have 2 points left. You could either go, 1, 2. There's a nice section where you can do Death Blow and Razor Fragments. You could come over here and put 2 points in your Focus Aim. You could do Steady Shot even, which, by the way, I actually should have put a point in that. You want to do that. You want your Steady Shot to generate 10 focus. I was thinking that this one was Steady Focus for some reason. So, sorry, I skipped that way earlier. Please, put a point in this. Otherwise, your Steady Shot is completely useless, and that feels really, really bad. Because I've kind of already been focus starved so far here in the beta. But that might also be because I'm used to the fast-paced machine gun hunter that we have in Shadowlands. So there's going to be a lot of growing pains for you Marksman Hunter fans out there as we leave the machine gun build of Season 4 of Shadowlands and move into Dragonflight, which will be a slower, more methodical build. So now we have 1 more point that I need to spend. I need to get to True Shot, so that was already taken care of with Volley. And then I have options down here. So I'm actually going to pick Serpent Stalker's Trickery. I wish that this Serpent Stalker's would be affected by Hydra's Bite. Maybe it will before this goes live, because it kind of feels bad to pick Serpent Sting and pick a point over here. But if you want to get down here to Legacy of the Windrunners or Windrunners Guidance at all, you have to pick Serpent Stalker's Trickery. So now we have 10 points left to spend. Let's go ahead and put 1 point in True Shot, and then now we have all of our options. So if we are doing an AOE build, we are most likely going to be picking light ammo, which means all of your trick shots will hit an additional 2 targets, so you'll hit up to 7 targets. Well, your main target plus up to 7 more. So let's go ahead and pick light armor, and then you can go ahead and put a point down here in salvo. So let's talk about real quick this ability Bulletstorm. I kind of want to stay away from it. It doesn't really seem fun for me. However, I could see you could find a build once you get your 2 and 4 set from the first tier of Dragonflight. This could become really good because that multi-shot would guarantee crit everything you would hit, and you could stack up its damage being increased by up to 150%. So that's something that would be kind of a niche build. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. Certainly something that I will try once a tier becomes available here on the beta. So for now, I'm going to go ahead and pick Salvo, but you also don't have to do that yourself. And then we get options here. So do you want to prioritize your wind arrows, which wind arrows essentially could give you bonus true shots. So Windrunner's Guidance is one of the capstone abilities here. Each one of your wind arrows fired has a 3% chance to grant you 10 seconds of your true shot, which your true shot is going to lower the cooldown, obviously, of your aimed and rapid fires, and then you also get 50% additional focus whenever you're gaining focus. So, for example, your steady shots, that sort of thing. If you're going to run with Legacy of the Windrunners and Windrunner's Guidance, you want to also make sure and run with Windrunner's Barrage. So whenever you use your Wailing Arrow, which we're going to pick here in just a second, you would fire off 5 wind arrows at your main target and 10 arrows split among the secondary targets hit, which means if you're doing a main, a decent pull, that's 15 arrows. That's 15 chances to hit that 3% chance to give you 10 seconds of true shot. I found that it didn't proc that much. Maybe I was just getting really unlucky in the beta, but also this was bugged for quite some time when I've been playing. Like most of these bottom ones were bugged. The only ones that wasn't was Salvo. and calling the shots. So now calling the shots works just fine. Unerring Vision works just fine. Windrunner's Barrage works. I think maybe that's why I wasn't getting this to proc, because maybe the barrage still isn't working. They finally fixed readiness, which whenever you use your Wailing Arrow, it resets the cooldown of rapid fire and gives you basically your full aim shots back and your rapid fire ready to go. So you could basically want to dump all of your abilities, use your Wailing Arrow, then go into True Shot and then just go to town. Or you can use Wailing Arrow during True Shot and then be boom, ready for a rapid fire, aimed, and you're off to the races. So what I've been wanting to play with, and I've been seeing some great results, is going to be to pick Wailing Arrow here, and then I have been playing around using Readiness. I don't necessarily like Readiness, but it's for me been the best, I should say the biggest increase of damage so far here in the beta, with not everything working, of course. So if you pick Readiness, then you're going to pick Eagle Talon's True Focus, which is a legendary here in Shadowlands, and then you can pick either Calling the Shots or Unerring Vision. Unerring Vision is kind of lackluster in comparison to what it was in BFA. It doesn't give you nearly as much crit. It still stacks the same, and you'll have that bonus 10% chance to crit for 18, or I guess it's the first 10 seconds you'll get to that, and then you'll have it for an additional 8 seconds thanks to your Eagle Talon's True Focus. So either one of these would work. I have been leaning towards using Calling the Shots right now, and that's just really helped my number of true shots per dungeon. But also, again, that's skewed because these dungeons are going relatively fast because we're burning through them because they're just at heroic, and most of the people in the groups have all made crafted gear, so they're like 385 plus. I was actually keeping up with people with this build. I was keeping up with players that were 385 plus when I was at 345, with very few new items so far for Shadowlands. So this build does really work, and I cannot wait to get some feedback from you guys and see what you are doing on the beta and as we get closer to launch, which will be here before you know it. So I have 2 points left, and this is kind of where you can put your points where you see fit. I have been wanting to use Bullseye. I love Bullseye because it doesn't sound good, like, oh, how many abilities are you going to get out under that 20% health? But if you're doing AOE pulls and you're using multi-shot, one multi-shot could hit 6 things, and this is when your abilities damage a target, not when you use abilities on targets. Meaning, you use one ability, one multi-shot in one of the dungeons, and you can immediately get like 7% crit that's going to be stacking up for that 6 seconds. And you can continually, if you kind of abuse the system a little bit, if you just keep things up that are almost dead, but not quite, you can keep that amount of crit, and it really works for chain pulls, because you can go right from attacking some enemies that are almost dead, pulling them into another fresh pack, and still have that bonus up to 30% chance to crit for 6 seconds, which if you couple that with a True Shot or a Wailing Arrow or some other big ability, an Explosive Shot or a double Explosive Shot and a Death Chakram, you can get some extreme amounts of damage just thanks to that bonus amount to crit. And this still works as well as a nice execute on bosses for a Tyrannical week. So because of that, I'm going to put both my points there in Bullseye, and please let me know what you guys think. This is what I've been playing with, and I've seen the best results for so far here in the Dragonflight beta. Of course, not everything is working. As I said, it is a beta after all. I mean, for half the time I couldn't even sell items today. That was super fun. But just to recap, there are several different builds that you could play. You could play around with a bleed build. If you do the bleed build, you want to make sure and use killer accuracy, put some points in death blow and razor fragments, and then I would honestly probably run with Bulletstorm if you want to get into a build like that with your 4-set once tier comes out on the beta, and then into Dragonflight itself. And then if you do want to do the bleed build, you want to make sure and put another point in serrated shots over here, even if you're not going to put a point in steel trap. But I mean, at that point it does cause the enemy to bleed for a percentage, so it really depends on if you want to fully commit to steel trap or not. I don't really like steel trap. That's just me. But we're going to continue to test more things here on the beta. I know I have been very quiet on videos. I do apologize for that. Had a lot of things going on in real life, but also the beta has not been very kind to us marksman hunters. I know we've been seeing, that's the meme, we've been seeing so many changes, which has been great, and there's been a lot of discussion about how we can make our trees better. However, a lot of the abilities haven't been working for me to properly test, so I'm going to try to continue to do that, and I'll try to post more full dungeon runs without me talking too much over them. So thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing if you haven't already, and be sure and follow me over at Twitch at twitch.tv/Mr. Eggplant. Cannot wait to talk to you guys very soon. Hopefully I can have some stuff live for you in the next week or so from the beta. And anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.